Hey guys, this is Matt with Just for Fun. Today I'm going to record some videos with my Bant deck. This is an update on the Doubling Season Jace combo deck that I posted a while back. Basically, after the bannings, Dig Through Time was no longer available. So what I wanted to do was update that deck in a way to be more competitive, not have to rely on the combo all the time, and just be more resilient against decks that can actually resolve a creature. So what I did was I added white, and part of the reason was that I've been slowly buying into Modern by buying shocklands and fetches a little bit at a time. Investing in real estate is always a sound financial decision, and one of the reasons that I wanted to do that is because having the lands lets you just brew so much more than you would otherwise, because that's usually the most restricting factor. Once you have all the lands, if there's one or two cards in a deck that would be better but they're too expensive, you can sort of like substitute something a little less good for the moment until you get something, until you get enough money or enough tickets or whatever to get the perfect card. So here's how I've changed the deck. I took out the Savor the Moment and some of the other, and the Fogs, and I've added white to the deck. Before it was just blue-green. So here's how the deck looks. So we've got a Bant mana base. It's not perfect by any means. I only have the 4 Heaths, but so far I've never had a problem. The most restrictive card here is Supreme Verdict. So at times you need double white, you need double green, or you need double blue, usually on turn 4, and I've not had a problem, especially because I'm also playing Farseek. So I thought that making the deck one turn faster would make it a lot more competitive, and as it turns out, Farseek is a great way to do that. If you're against someone where you feel like you can tap out on turn 2, because you do have some 2-mana counterspells, then Farseek is a really great way to get ahead, because against a lot of decks, if you play, after a Farseek, turn 4 Doubling Season, turn 5 Jace activate, it's just game. Maybe creature decks that don't have enchantment removal, or just don't remove your Doubling Season because they don't get it yet. If you haven't done anything else, they might not see the point of it. So again, sometimes it just wins the game. So how else can we win? What else have I changed? So I found that the deck had a lot of trouble with resolved creatures. So rather than fogging, how about we just kill everything, right? So Supreme Verdict is great. It can't be countered, just smashes through everything. I've got 3 in the main and 1 in the board. Path, another great way to deal with problem critters. Pairs really well with Verdict, because things that Verdict can't get rid of, so like Finks, for example, Path does a great job of getting rid of that. Negate is there to really against counterspell decks mostly, or decks that play planeswalkers. Every deck has a non-creature spell worth countering for 2 mana, and so Negate is just always good. Remand is there to stall. In game 1, you really, kind of more in on the combo. You can, and all the time, I value people out with Garruk. I just win with beasts and swinging with a 3/3. Sometimes in Modern that's just enough. Sleight of Hand helps you find whatever you need. I don't like Serum Visions in a deck with fetch lands. It doesn't make sense to me. Because you might have to play your fetch and fetch out a land to play the next card, and this is just, to me, like, I just prefer this card. I don't know, because you can pick which card you're getting now, as opposed to picking which card you're getting later. I just think in a combo deck maybe it's better. So how the combo works, in case you didn't watch the other videos: if you play Doubling Season, then when Jace comes into play, he's got 8 counters, and he can immediately ultimate. His ultimate allows you to search your library and the opponent's library for a card and cast it for free. So with your cast, you're finding the next Jace, and so you get to basically cast 1, 2, 3, 4 of your opponent's cards for free, preferably their biggest creatures, and then with your 4th and final Jace, find and cast Time Warp on yourself, take an extra turn and attack and win. And usually if you have a Garruk in play, you can either use that time to ultimate Garruk, or, you know, for the overrun effect, or make enough Beast Dudes to make the attack fatal. So that's how that works. I didn't have this in here a minute ago, Azorius Charm. Before I had Baneslayer Angel in the deck, and as it turns out, I haven't really needed it. Like, occasionally that card will win you a game, but I feel like maybe just having a couple more instant speed stalling spells or dig spells just might be better. So we'll throw in Azorius Charm. It was good in Bant Control when that was the standard deck, so maybe it'll be good for us here. I don't know, I feel like it's worth a shot. The sideboard, so I've actually put a lot of thought into it this time. So we've got the 4th Verdict to bring in against decks that are all in on creatures. We've got Thragtusk as an additional threat and or win condition against you know, burn and aggro decks. You know, it takes usually 2 cards to get rid of it. If you have a Doubling Season out, you're gonna get 2 tokens if it dies, which is nice. You can cast 1 and then they play a couple more creatures. You can Wrath and you don't care because you still get a 3/3 and you've gained the 5 life back. It's just all around a great threat out of a control deck, and you know, it's easy to cast. It does a lot of good things in the deck. Elixir is for you know, another way to gain life. It's also good in a control matchup or a mill matchup, you know, because you're kind of threat light, so this lets you put action back into your deck and gain life at the same time. There are a lot of mill decks online, so it's kind of good against that. Negate and Dispel in there for control matchups to try to get your planeswalkers on the board and protect them. Stony Silence is just a way to cold against an artifact deck, a way to just stop them dead. Rest in Peace works the same against graveyard-based decks. So you know, obviously you're not going to board in Elixir and Rest in Peace in the same matchup. That would be not good. But you know, your deck like really doesn't rely on your graveyard at all. So Rest in Peace, it doesn't hurt your deck in the slightest, so it's great inclusion there. And between the Jaces and the Sleight of Hands, and you know, all the deck thinning of the fetches and Farseeks, you draw a lot of cards, so you have a good chance of hitting your hate card, even if it's only a 2-of. I played this against, I don't know if you've ever played against Mindcrank, Dimir Guildmage, or not Guildmage, but I can't remember the name of the guy. The Dimir, he's not Dimir Guildmage, but it's basically, that's the name of the card, pretty much. But it's not that card, but you know what I mean. The Return to Ravnica Dimir mage that has the ability that, you know, whenever opponent is milled a card, he loses a life. And then Mindcrank, or the other way around, something like that. It works with Mindcrank to become an instant kill. So I had this out against him, and then that he just couldn't win. Basically, once I had this in play, he had to just kill me with, you know, 4/2/2 creatures in his deck. So it was pretty hard at that point for him to actually beat me. So you know, it can win a lot of unwinnable matchups. So deck has been okay. I found that it's definitely much more resilient than the blue-green only version, and it's still not terribly unbudget. I mean, the lands here are a little expensive. Time Warps and Jaces are a little expensive. Remans are a little expensive. The rest of the cards are pretty cheap, actually. So you know, pretty good value proposition. And you know, this is a mana base I had lying around. So I felt like, hey, let me give it a shot building a Bant control deck. If I had more budget, I would probably play a Sphinx's Revelation, you know, or two. That would be really good in the deck. Aside from that, are there any other budgetary ones? Not really. I mean, that's pretty much what the deck is missing is Sphinx's Rev. I had tried out Opportunity. It doesn't work. You know. It could use a little more card draw. It's not quite perfect. And oh, Manlands, yeah, definitely I would play Celestial Colonnade and or you know, the green-white one that I can't think of the name of right now. I would play a couple of those also, just as additional threats or even Mutavaults, just to, you know, for the games where you just want to close it out a little faster. So let's see if we can get in a match or two tonight. And yeah, I like playing with the deck. It's a lot of fun. I hope you like it too.